Ready?
Oh, yeah.
The bastard sword.
It was wielded by Jon Snow.
It will kill.
The épée de combat. Gentlemen, this blade can be seen wielded by Arya Stark from Game of Thrones. The famous sword, needle, wielded by Arya Stark in the Game of Thrones series, draws its inspiration from the épée de combat, an unassuming but vicious sword designed primarily for thrusting. The blade's lightweight and needle point allowed for deadly thrusts as Arya inflicted vengeance upon her enemies. The épée de combat also featured a guard to protect the user's hand, a necessary feature for the weapon Arya used in her quest to avenge the Stark family.
All right, bladesmiths, this is the kill test. I will take your weapon and deliver some thrusts and slashes on our dummy from the north. Trevor, you're up first. You ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, Trevor. First up, it is so light, just like a needle. Your point here allows for a very deep penetration without any effort. Overall, sir, it will kill. Good job. All right, Victor, your turn. So you ready?
Ready.
Let's do this. All right, Victor, let's talk about your sword here. It's not very light. Overall, though, it's pointy enough to thrust. The edge, with a weight, cuts, and it will kill.
Thank you. All right, gentlemen, it's time for the strength test. To test the strength and overall construction of your blades, just like an ice pick, I'm going to be chipping ice. Trevor, you're up first. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, Trevor, you did pick up a slight bend in your tip. Having said that, I mean, this thing is so light, which is fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, Victor, you are up. Are you ready, sir? Ready. Victor, first off, blade is the same shape as when we started out. Tip's still there, it's fine. Your fullers are there, but they're not very deep. And by not having them very deep, this blade is very heavy. Having said that, it's a strong blade. It took no damage, so well done. Thank you.
All right, bladesmiths, this is the sharpness test, the steel can stab and water bag slice. I will take your weapon. I'm going to test the tip by thrusting into the cans, and I'm going to slash the bag. Trevor, you're up first. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. All right, right, Trevor. No issues at all in stabbing into the can. And the cut with your tip on that bag, you can see it's straight cut all the way through. Overall, sir, it'll cut.
Thank you.
All right, Victor, your turn. So you ready?
Ready.
Let's do this. All right, Victor, first up in the stabbing test. On one of the thrusts, it pushed the can in more than penetrated all the way through. But your edge is sharp. On the bag, cut cleanly all the way through. And more importantly, you'll cut.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, I finished my discussion with your judges, and they've made their final decision. Our new Forged in Fire champion is Trevor. Congratulations, you're the new Forged in Fire champion. Victor, unfortunately, your blade didn't make the cut by the narrowest of margins, and David Baker's going to tell you why.
Victor, the épée de combat was supposed to be a lightning-fast thrusting sword. The weight of your blade led it to be just a more difficult weapon to use. That's why we're letting you go.
Victor, unfortunately, today your blade doesn't make the cut. I'd like to invite you to shake our hands, shake your competitor's hand, and then please leave the forge.
First thing I do when I go home, kiss the wife, my son, and start forging and get ready for my next knife show.
Trevor, congratulations. You are our new Forged in Fire champion, and that's a title that comes with a check for $10,000. Good job, brother. Come on forward, my friend. Good job.
I can't believe that I won Forged in Fire. Feeling better than good. The most fun I've had in years. With the $10,000, I may buy a new sander. Most of it will go to my wife, though.
The bastard sword.
The bastard sword was widely popular throughout Europe during the Middle Ages and well into the Renaissance. It's so well known, a version of this deadly blade was wielded by the famous bastard Jon Snow in HBO's Game of Thrones. While its blade length varied from 36 to 40 inches, the name came from its uniquely sized handle that was between 1 and 2 hands long, earning it its alternative name, the hand-and-a-half sword. Lethal in battle, the sword could easily deliver devastating blows with 2 hands or quickly inflict slashes in close-quarter combat with 1. All right, gentlemen, you know what time it is? It's time for the kill test. I'm gonna take your swords, I'm gonna attack this gel torso here, see what kind of damage we do. Hunter, you're up first. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm so excited for this moment.
Come on, baby.
Woo! Very cool, man.
Yeah, I think he's done. All right, Hunter, right off. It's a performer. It cut deep on each one of those cuts. As a matter of fact, that one downward diagonal goes all the way through the rib cage. Handle could have been just a little bit longer. I'm winding up with about 1.25 hands instead of 1.5 hands. But you definitely got a lethal blade here.
Thank you.
All right, Philip, you're up. You ready?
Ready?
Oh my gosh. Very cool. Very cool.
So, right off, I like the scale of your blade. I mean, it's very large, and it's got a lot of weight to it, but the balance is nice. You can see all these cuts are so deep. I was actually worried on that last one that I would hit the post that's holding that thing up. But as far as being a cutting sword, this thing is lethal. Good job.
Thank you.
You having fun doing this?
Oh, yeah.
Making history?
Feeling good.
So what's up next? You ready for this? We're going to test the strength of your swords. You ready, Jay?
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you, sir.
Bladesmiths, welcome to our strength test, the WWE Bash Fest. To test the edge holding ability and overall construction, I'm going to go through a series of WWE weapons. We're going to destroy the table, puncture and bash through the garbage can, and just tear that ladder to pieces. Hunter, you're up first. You ready to go?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it.
Jay, steal the show, brother.
Damn.
Oh, man. Hunter, you started out strong, man.
Oh.
This is actually very comfortable, even though the handle's a little bit short. But you look at the grain, it looks like sand. So that caused a weak point, and the shock wave went all the way down and snapped it at this weak point. Sorry, man.
My heart.
Hunter, it's painful to see, man. You put a lot of work into that thing and it looks great. But unfortunately, you did have a catastrophic failure on the ladder, which means we can't test your blade any further. But you are not out of the fight yet. Philip, in order to claim the title, you've got to make it through the table, you got to make it through all the swings through the trash can, and you've got to make it through at least one bash into the ladder. You prepared for it?
I'm nervous, but I'm ready.
Woo! Get in the spirit, man.
Let's see what your blade can do. Jay?
Well done.
Hunter, man, you fought hard. The first rounds, you excelled. But unfortunately, during the testing, you did suffer a catastrophic failure, and for that reason, time in the forge has ended. I'm gonna have to ask you to please step off the forge floor, bud.
Thank you, Hunter.
Thank you,
Good job,
guys.
man. Hey, good
Thank
work.
you very much. Well, Philip, you know what that means, man. You are the Forge and Fire champion.
Philip, congratulations, man. Woo!
That comes with a check for $10,000 as well as a WWE title.
Here we go, man. Get that 10 grand.
Get out of this man's way.
Forge and Fire champion, brother. This title is going in the most obnoxious spot of the living room that I can find. Probably taped onto the TV.
Let me hear it one time. Woo!
The Boar Spear. Developed as early as 700 AD in Europe, the boar spear was forged for both combat and hunting. Known at the time as a bar spear, the weapon was about 5 to 6 feet long and featured a pair of lugs below the leaf-shaped blade. When hunting, the lugs would stop a speared boar from running up the length of the weapon and attacking the user. In combat, the lugs could be used to hook and pull away enemy shields. The blade of the spear could be decorated, with some featuring finely engraved scenes of hunts. On the first season of Game of Thrones, King Robert Baratheon carried a boar spear on his final boar hunt.
Bladesmiths, this is the sharpness test. To see how sharp your boar spears are, we will test the tip and the edge by stabbing and slashing through these sandbags.
All right,
Clayton, you're up first. You ready?
I'm ready.
Well, Clayton, the balance of your tip lends itself to stabbing. Your edge lacerated cleanly on a moving sandbag. What surprised me was the positioning of your lug. Traditionally, they have it crosswise this way, but you have it this way. Because of that, it was hard to index when you're cutting through. But then again, it will cut.
Thank you.
Alan, you're next. Ready?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Alan, your spear feels good to hold on to. It was easy to index and know where the edge was, so that was a nice slash that I could penetrate through. And in the thrust, it felt good in the hand.
All right.
I can see a little bow in your handle. But when we're talking about the sharpness test, this, sir, will cut.
All right.
Next up is a kill test. To see what kind of lethal damage your weapon can do, I will deliver lethal blows to this wild boar carcass. Dayton, you're up first. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Well, Clayton, your boar spear right here did very well on the thrust, penetrating all the way through on the low line and on the high line. On the edge, it lacerated cleanly, and testing the other side, it cut all the way through the spine. This, sir, will kill. Good job.
Thank you.
Alan, you're next. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do this. Well, Alan, let's talk about your blade. On the thrust, it penetrated all the way through. On the laceration on one side of your edge, boy, wow, it almost sliced all the way through. On your other edge, it lacerated through the spine. This spear, sir, will kill.
All right.
Next up is a strength test. Dave?
Gentlemen, it's been said that the sword is the prince of all weapons, but the spear is the king. To test the strength of your boar spears, I'm going to load them into our air cannon here and fire them into this wooden target.
It's a fun test. Thrilled to see it go down. I just can't wait.
We'll see how deep it penetrates, how well it holds up, and if it holds up while I remove the spear from the target.
Awesome.
Clayton, you're up first. You ready?
I am.
All right, let's do this.
Oh, man. I'm just hoping that my handle stays together. I'm hoping that after it impacts the wood, that it doesn't break the blade off or something like that.
In 3, 2, 1. Well, Clayton, your spear really dug in deep. It went in about 4 inches. Came out fine. Everything's still tight and dialed in. This is interesting being offset.
Being that it's a boar spear, I wanted to make sure that whatever laceration the blade produced on the animal wasn't wide enough to allow the wings to come through. And the best way to do that was just make them perpendicular.
All right, nicely done.
Thank you.
Alan, you're up. In 3, 2, 1. All right, Alan, that buried itself quite nicely. It went into about there again, about 4 inches deep. Like the leaf shape on this. I like the fact that you hand hammered the socket. I was kind of worried when I put this in our machine that slight warp in your shaft there would bind up, but not a problem. Good job.
Thank you.
Bladesmiths, the judges have completed their deliberation and they've made a final decision. Both of you have turned in fantastic boar spears. However, in this arena of competition, there can only be one Forged in Fire champion. Alan, congratulations. You are the Forged in Fire champion.
Congratulations.
You did awesome.
Clayton, your boar spear did not make the cut.
Clayton, this was not an easy decision to make. Because of your perpendicular lugs, it was hard to visually index your blade, meaning it's hard to tell where the cutting edge is. That makes it a less effective weapon. And for that, we had to let you go.
No, I understand.
Clayton, please surrender your weapon.
Right now, obviously, I'm a little bit disappointed, but this is the first spear I made, and for me, it's really important that it was such a tight race. I don't want it to be anything that I handed him or anything that he would have handed me. Alan is a deserving champion.
Alan, congratulations. You are the Forged in Fire champion, and with that comes a check for $10,000. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You know what I really appreciate about that is the fact that you took the time to actually hammer that cone out. Making that socket is a really nice touch on any kind of traditional spear. So well done.
I am the Forged in Fire champion. I cannot believe it. I had no idea if it was going to be me or him, and it was me. I'm betting being a Forged in Fire champion is going to help this stay-at-home dad / knife maker convince a few people that they should try out my blades. That's great.
The Egyptian Kopesh. Dating back to 2500 BC, the Kopesh was a curved sickle sword adopted by Egyptians from the Canaanites. It was used to execute their enemies, as an infantry weapon, and also as a symbol of the authority of their nobles. The unique shape of their curved blades meant they could be used to hook a shield, snag an opponent's leg in an attempt to trip them, or even tangle an opposing weapon. The weapon's distinctive design makes the Kopesh easily recognizable in television series such as Game of Thrones.
Bladesmiths. It is said that the historic design of the Kopesh evolved from a battle axe. Its edge was so sharp that it said it could cut through just about anything. To test the sharpness of your weapon, I will see how well it cuts through a sandbag, a sugarcane, and a rope. Salem, you up. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Well, Salem, it definitely is easy enough to cut through a sandbag, cut through sugarcane, but the forward weight being a little bit tip-heavy was a little bit harder to slice through on the upward stroke, but definitely it's a very sharp weapon. This, sir, will cut. Good job.
Thanks.
Craig, you're up. You ready?
Yes, sir.
I'm just disappointed that it wouldn't cut the rope.
Well, Craig, it cut through a sandbag, cut all the way through 3 sugar canes, but the same idea on an upward swing for the test. It did lacerate the rope, but it didn't cut through. But overall, it will cut. Now it's time to move on to the kill test. To test the functionality and lethality of your blade, I will attempt to rip off these shields, then deliver killing blows on this ballistic dummy. Let's see how much damage your weapon can do. Salem, you're up. You ready?
All right.
The hook on your tip does allow to rip off the shield. The edge you have right here caused some serious damage. Enough to cut all the way through the belly here. At the same time, I've cut through all these bones, from the clavicle to the ribs. This, sir, will kill us. Craig, it's your turn. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this. Well, Craig, what I like about your particular hook design over here is that as you puncture, twist, and rip out, everything that you have in there will hook and come out with it. The edge cut all the way into the bone and broke these ribs, the sternum. This, sir, will kill.
Thank you.
Next up is a strength test. Dave?
Gentlemen, what I'm going to do to test the strength of your weapons is take 7 blows against these animal femurs. Salem, you're up. Are you ready?
Great.
Now, Salem, in examining your weapon, we noticed a small delamination on the back of the blade.
I was not expecting that. I'm just hoping that the edge stays hard.
So we're going to keep an eye on that through the testing, and and we'll see if it opens up. Well, Salem, that did a job on those bones. Now, there's a little bit of deflection on your blade, but that back mark didn't open or split at all. Now, you can see I went through 2 of those bones and was well into the 3rd. Well done.
Thank you.
So, Craig, it's your turn. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, Craig, you can see a lot of chips right there in the impact zone. The first few blows against those femurs, it started cutting really nicely. Broke through the one, but as we started to lose edge here with those chips and deflections, it just stopped cutting and it was more a bludgeoning impact blow. But I felt it really cut well when I was swinging it. All in all, nice design. I like your handle construction, and it's definitely a chopper. So, gentlemen, good job.
Salem, Craig, there can only be one Forged in Fire champion. Salem, you are the Forged in Fire champion. Congratulations.
Good job. Thank you. Good job to you, too.
Craig, unfortunately, your blade did not make the cut. Please surrender your weapon.
Craig, thank you.
This experience was harder than I thought it was going to be. I need about 3 gin and tonics, and I'm just going to make the bad man in the back of my head go away.
Salem, it's safe to smile now because you're the Forged in Fire champion, the recipient of $10,000. Congratulations.
The fullers on that blade just really bring that pattern out. I think that's a really nice touch.
That's just crazy. It's gonna take a while to sink in. I'm kind of stunned right now.
The Irish ring-hilted sword. Dating back to the 12th century, the Irish ring-hilted sword was a classic European weapon with a blade reaching lengths of up to 40 inches. The broad double-edged weapon featured a distinctive ring pommel that was key for counterbalancing its weight, allowing for swift and deadly cuts. Commonly used by the elite mercenaries known as gallowglass, the well-balanced sword complemented their superior fighting techniques that were revered throughout Ireland in the Middle Ages. Although warriors such as the gallowglass no longer exist, the weapon's symbolism is still represented in popular culture today and can be seen on the television show Game of Thrones, where one of the most feared characters, the Mountain, wields his ring-hilted sword.
All right, bladesmiths, this is the kill test. To find out what kind of lethal damage your Irish ring-hilted swords can do, I will take your weapon and deliver killing blows on this feral boar carcass. Jason, you're up first. You ready?
I am.
Let's do this. All right, Jason. First up, when I grab onto it, it feels good in the hand. It's a good fit. Now, swinging this is sweet. You have a very sharp edge that cuts easily into this wild boar carcass. It will kill. Good job, Jason.
Thank you.
All right, Sean, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this. All right, Sean, let's talk about your weapon right here. First up, when I grabbed onto the handle, it's got a good feel to that. I like that you put some grooves in there because it fits nicely to where my hand locks into it, and I get a very secure fit. A little heavier, but the weight helps push and cut into this wild boar carcass. And most of all, it will kill.
Thank you, sir.
Good job. Ben?
Welcome to the strength test, the dreaded ice chop. To test the strength and durability of your swords, as well as their overall construction, I'm going to be chopping mercilessly into this unforgiving block of ice. Remember, this test is all about what that ice does to your ring-hilted swords and not what your swords do to the ice. Jason, you're up first. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Good. Well, Jason, first things first, the warp, I think that it being off-center made it rotate in my hand. But the balance on the sword, as you can see, is beautiful. It's comfortable to wield, and your sword held up. Well done.
Thank you.
Sean, you're up. How you feeling?
Nervous but excited.
All right, let's do it. Well, Sean, the weight on this is a little tip heavy. I would have liked a little bit more counterbalance on it, but that being said, it's still a lot of fun to swing. Your edge held up beautifully. Everything's right and tight. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Next up is the sharpness test, and for that, I give you to Dave.
Okay, gentlemen, now to test the sharpness of your blade, I'll be cutting through this sugar cane. I'll use both edges of your blade. Now, unlike the strength test, this is all about what your blades do to that target. We want to see those cuts nice and clean, not canes broken or pushed out of the way. Jason, you're up first. You ready?
I am.
Okay. All right, Jason, your handle construction, you can see how square that is right there. When that was in my backhand cut, I actually got into those canes and then it rolled. Your tang is now kind of kicking off to one side. So that probably happened as that blade caught that last cane and yanked down. But it's definitely a sharp blade, really nice. Sean, you're up. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. First up, your handle construction, I like a lot. It's not rotating in my hand. It's a heavier sword, but cuts are clean. It's definitely a sharp blade. I like that. Well done.
Thank you.
Jason, Sean, the judges' deliberation is complete. They've made their final decision. The next Forged in Fire champion is Sean. Congratulations, you're the new Forged in Fire champion. Jason, unfortunately, your blade didn't make the cut. Please surrender your blade.
I would have liked to have won. But I'm proud of what I've done. I mean, throughout this whole series of tests, I made a strong, sharp blade and it performed equally as well. So, I mean, I'm happy with it.
Sean, congratulations. You're the new Forged in Fire champion, and that's a title that comes with a check for $10,000. How do you feel about that?
Doesn't suck.
No, it does not. Sean, please present your blade to the judges.
This whole experience, it's pushed me physically, it's pushed me mentally. Parts of it have been pretty brutal. Thank you, guys. And I wouldn't trade a minute of it for anything. I've had the time of my life.